At 1:35, it's 85 degrees outside. This is the agenda on News Radio 560 KPQ. Let's meet our special guest, Linda Herald. Until moments ago, the candidate for the 12th district seat of the legislature, currently a council member for the city of Wenatchee, who comes in this morning to announce that, in fact, she's pulling out of the race. Is that true?
That's very true. I'm withdrawing from the race. And it just boiled down to this is the right thing for Linda Herald. When I look at my personal schedule and my agenda and the commitments I have made and how much it takes to gear up for a campaign like this, I can't fit it all in. So
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a huge, huge thing. And not that I don't want to do it. If I could clear out those other things, I'd be there. But right now, it's just not meant to be. And it kind of all came down in a lot of considerations over the past week, and I just feel like this is the right thing to do right now. Keith Gaynor has jumped in. He's outstanding. He'll make a great representative for us. He has the local, state, and federal experience that we need, and he's the guy that can do the job.
Do you think he's a shoo-in?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think he's got some campaigning to do, but I do think he will be a heavy favorite, and I think he'll win the race in the end.
It must have been quite a roller coaster for you. It certainly was for our newsroom in terms in terms of the decision you had to make personally with you and your family and your loved ones about saying, yes, I'm in for the fight.
It was a big decision, and maybe the decision was made too quick. I don't know, but there was a lot of talk with my family. My youngest son's in Afghanistan again, and letting him know what was going on, and my grandchildren. The first thing out of their mouth is, "Well, when will we see you, Nana?"
And
anyway.
that sort of rang. I mean, that was
yeah.
When kids say stuff like that, you go, "Oh, what have I done?"
People have told me I'm not the normal grandmother. I'm very involved in my grandchildren.
I bet you are. Who couldn't be?
They're pretty precious.
Absolutely, they're the best. Well, you mentioned your son in Afghanistan. Do you mind saying where he is and what he's doing, if you can?
I can't really tell you too much.
So he's doing that kind of work.
Yeah.
Well, we hope he's safe and he comes home soon.
He's fine. He's just fine.
Now that you have the heartbreak and the juggling of saying, yes, I'm in the race. And then, I guess yesterday or the day before, I don't know exactly when, you decided that, no, I'm out of this race.
Yes, that's exactly it. And it was a really tough decision, but I feel like it's the right decision, not only for me personally at this time, but for the House of Representatives and the job we've got to do over there. Keith will do it.
It's if you talk with Mike Steele and Kerry Condata or anybody else who serves in the legislature anywhere in the state, just this last session will tell you that it's a tough job. And you can't always make your own hours.
That's very true. That's very true. And it's long hours. And you may or may not get to come home on weekends. You just don't know.
No.
You have to be there. So, and I was geared up for that. I'm used to working long hours, and that's not a problem. I have other commitments at this time that I need to see those through, and then life will open up, and maybe there's a place for me later on. We'll see.
One of your commitments is you're a council member for the great city of Wenatchee.
Yes.
And will you continue?
I have a year and a half of my term, and then we'll see what happens then.
It'll give you a year and a half to figure it out.
No, well, not quite, but almost.
Almost. Well, sometime anyway.
Yeah, we've got some time to think about it.
Immediately commit to another political race.
We're working on some of the things that are going to come up in July probably on the agenda is the redistricting. And I feel like that's the right thing to do. And we'll be voting on that. And that'll take some adjustment. There'll be some changes there and everything, whether we'll go with 5 district and 2 members at large or 7 districts. I don't know yet. Council hasn't decided and it hasn't come up for a vote. So.
Why would that be a difference, and why would which way that you want it to go?
7 districts just slices the pie a little thinner, which is not a bad thing. And 5 districts would give us 2 members at large, which I think it would give the opportunity for people with experience to maybe run in those positions and still allowed to have representation from the Latino population that we so desperately need. So,
what do you think has made this race. Kerry Condada sort of surprised a lot of people. Not he surprised me. Maybe perhaps he didn't surprise you or some of the insiders when he said, "No, I'm not going back. I have other things that I want to do before I finish my political career." And he hasn't said what it is. Some people know. I don't know. But that was kind of volatile. And then bingo, yeah. Chris Gaynor gets in, you get in, then you both get out, and then Keith Gaynor gets in, and it looks like he's the favorite. But who's to say? There may be more people running.
Could be. I don't know. There are other people that have talked about it, and I know several other people that were thinking about it. Whether or not they're going to do it, I don't know. Kerry's served 12 years, and that's a long time in the House of Representatives. And he's done an excellent job. And I think, we all have to figure out what we need to do, what that next step is. And I think he's probably figured out what that next step is, not only for him, but for the betterment of all of us. So
he probably won't say, but he'll be on Wednesday afternoon. We'll see if we can pry it out of him.
Yeah.
But I doubt very much if I can have my way with him. If he has a secret, I'm sure he'll keep it.
Well, I'm not sure what he's up to, but hopefully he'll tell you.
Well, let's talk about this vacancy that's yet to be filled. If you were going to run someone's campaign, what would you say are the top 3 issues that this person must say correctly to win the Republican vote in the 12th district?
Well, the agriculture issue, of course, and immigration, what that's going to do. If we don't have the workers to get our crops off the trees, what are we going to do? And this valley is very dependent on agriculture. It's not our only industry. Healthcare is another thing that's coming up. That's going to need some serious help, and there are a lot of issues involved in that. And there's just a lot coming down the pipeline that it's going to take somebody with really strong leadership skills that can not only work for the party, but work across the party lines. And I really feel that Keith can do that. He's very reasonable guy. He's very thoughtful, very intelligent, and he'll do that.
When are you going to vote for him?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to get that straight. One of the things that happens when people from the same party run together is there has to be a difference between them, and I just was thinking, how in the world are the Republicans going to determine which candidate to vote for? Well, for now, that's an easy decision to make. But it occurred to me that if Chris Gaynor was a Democrat and you were a Republican and Ann Diamond is an independent, that left room for a couple more if you wanted to get it, if you wanted a real horse race. But I don't see indications that that's what we're going to get. But it could happen that way.
Yeah. And who knows who's going to step in. Next week is filing. There may be someone that comes out and says, I'm going to run. Hopefully, kudos to them. I hope they do. The voters deserve a choice.
When you talk to your family and to yourself, had that conversation with yourself about saying yes to getting in or even saying no to getting out, was it a decision like you said, you know what, I can't do this, or I should do this, but I don't know if I want to? Was there any hesitation?
Well, there was no doubt I wanted to do it, and I'm hoping someday in the future I will do it. Just the timing is wrong for me. It was an easy decision to say I'm going to run, but when I started looking at all the other considerations that come to point, it just was getting very complicated. And, when you run a campaign like this, you're going from dawn till dusk, and it's busy. There's a lot of pressure. You do a lot of work. One of the gentlemen I was talking to, he said, you're probably going to drop 50 pounds in the first few months. I'm like, great.
I should have run years ago.
Yeah.
Well, what about the idea of the politics working for the city of Wenatchee is one form of political life.
Yes.
But working within the state legislature is a very different animal.
It is a very different animal. And, I spend a lot of time in Olympia because of my job at the convention center. I'm over there a lot. And I call on a lot of different associations and some government agencies and stuff. And I often, when I can't find my clients, I go to the Gulch at the legislature looking for them. So, I've been there. I've walked the halls. It's tough. It's a very busy life.
It's an anthill.
Yeah, it is. It is. And God bless those people who step up and serve.
There are some people who are politically minded. They really like the give and take. They like the negotiation. They're like, maybe they don't like reading the bills. No one seems to ever read one of those things. But they like the work, and it becomes addictive in terms of They want that. They want not necessarily the power, but being on the inside and watching the state be formed with legislation.
Yeah.
Is that something that you were looking forward to, or did that not appeal to you?
It's not. I wasn't in it for the power. If you took a look at my volunteer record, I'm there to serve. Making a difference is really huge to me, and we all have a responsibility to make sure our community is a safe place for our children, and they have good education, and that business is able to maintain and flourish. Yes, and I think that's very important, but it's not about power. And I think in the end, when you get in there, you realize it's not about power. It's about, you've got to be willing to serve.
What's next up on the city council for you that you want to get done?
What's next up on the...
Well, you mentioned the redistricting.
Yes, that's coming up. We're working a lot on roads and things like that. Our roads, I would say, are in a big mess.
They're expensive.
Yeah, it's not. It's so expensive.
They said, why don't you pave the road? I said, well, have you checked the bill? This is an expensive business.
Exactly. And you'll notice that we're going to be putting a light in down there at McTrick, and we're going to be extending that road through. All of that's coming down. That'll be happening this summer. There's just a lot going on.
So no regrets?
No regrets.
That's the idea.
Yeah, no regrets.